The pictures in Moodle was easy to mainly easy. Look at that. There we go. He's in Moodle and then hot potatoes. Reading the pictures in the Moodle quiz was mainly easy. This was like skimming and scanning for information. And a drop with hot potatoes, we can just see the visual there. And the listening test in Moodle was easy to mainly easy, and a little more difficult with hot potatoes. That may have had something to do with the size of the audio link. Click here. There may have been a delay with the hot potatoes JavaScripting, that it wasn't fast enough. And that may have had something to do with the browser, the bad match between hot potatoes and Internet Explorer. That could probably account for that. And you don't want that during a placement test or a testing environment. So these were the people who took the test. Kind of representative of what we have at Hokusei. A few students from Hokusei Gakuen also took this as well. So the Moodle quizzes, on the whole, outperformed the hot potatoes quizzes in popularity and cross-platform stability. Hot potatoes in Windows with Internet Explorer was a bad combination. As for hot potatoes, it was noticed that the quizzes opened right away with a single click. And to start a Moodle quiz, you need to click 3 times. But then again, as the proctor for a test, or a proctor for a placement test, you're usually reading instructions anyway, and once the students start the quiz, then they forget how many times they needed to click to get into the quiz. So the proctor can take care of that. So from a test maker's point of view, making a hot potatoes test was easier than the straight Moodle approach. When authoring a test with the Moodle format, it is recommended to use an import format as a time saver. Then for the media plugins, you've got to go back and add in the links for the JPEGs, add in the links for the audio files, and what have you, or movies. Moodle does not do crossword puzzles. At the time when I was doing the research, that was bad, but Moodle does everything else, which is good. The test maker can count on Moodle to perform congruently across platforms and browsers. I wouldn't say just good, I would say excellent. I would say excellent. So the Moodle quizzes were liked more by students, as the bar charts depict. Moodle quizzes offer a malleability of rearranging test items, which is a real strength. The teacher can tailor quizzes according to student needs. Hot potatoes is limited. It is great for placement tests and exams provided by publishers, but even within this study, it was not the preferred platform. So these are the sources. Now I think a lot of you picked up this book here, and I'd like for you to go to page 11, which is my part of the article in this book. And let's just take a look at a third place of, well, first we started with, I'm sold out for now.
Oh, okay.
You'll have to sit next to someone. First we started with using Moodle as a lone teacher within a university for your students, what you can do. Secondly, we talked about using Moodle, to give a placement test for like a large program, like all first-year students coming in. But now let's think about this. After you've used Moodle for a couple of years by yourself, you feel comfortable with it. After you've gotten your okay to use Moodle for your English program to get students divided into classes, well then, what's next? This is where the fun really begins. At this point, you can generate classes, in my case, about 100, for the full-time and part-time teachers to use as much or as little as they want. So the question is, how do you hook these teachers, your colleagues and your employees? How can you hook them in so that they'll want to use Moodle? How can you set up a situation where, well, with luck, they might modify their teaching from being just product-oriented, English language teaching, for example, to a more process approach. At this point, you have to think about fishing. How many of you have genuinely tried to catch a fish from the river or a lake? Good, you got that. That's very good. It's that you can put your hook in the water with the best, most expensive bait all you want, and if the fish just doesn't take it, you're not going to eat fish for dinner. I mean, something's got to happen. You've got to have some kind of magical moment that will get the fish to think that your bait is a bug and chomp on it, and then that's all that the fish will know. Same thing with Moodle. You got to hook your teachers, you got to hook your colleagues, you got to do something. And this article, which was my submission, talks about that. And we're going to talk about then, okay, let's back up a bit. I'm the director of our non-English majors program at Hokusei University. And this has been my goal for the last couple of years. And each year, maybe one or two more of my colleagues, decides, this year I'm going to really try Moodle. And of course, I'm there to help them along as much as I can. But just like anybody else, the more you learn on your own, the greater the impact. So as a director, I had the wonderful task of setting up what we call course categories for the academic year of 2011. We hold our English classes on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. Periods 1 through 4, 2 and 4, and so forth. Our classes meet twice a week. So for example, English 1, Keizai Department A meets on Tuesdays and Fridays. And English 3 and 4 as well. So we've got to make directories. And this is our communications department, which doesn't have that many students. And here's our social welfare department. The English 1 courses are available. The English 2 courses are not. Those are for the fall semester. And each course has to be made for each teacher. And if you saw before, let's just think. This is my class. And this is the basics. I have not customized it at all. We've got one thing, really, to hook in teachers. That's the attendance module. Now, how many of you are students? Students here at Shoda. Students, right? Good. Now then, it's the beginning of the semester. You know how many classes you've missed. Let's think. In June, in July, in your English class, how many classes have you missed? 2, 3, 4 or 5. And normally after class you would go up to your professor, you know, Dr. Sean Clanky, and you'd say something like, Dr. Clanky, can you tell me how many classes I've missed? And Dr. Clanky will take out his attendance book and he'll say, well, what's your student number? In English. Oh, really? And your name is Yamanaka? Safe. Okay, that's a drama. All right, that's drama. That's kind of fun, and some teachers like that. But with Moodle, the teacher can enter in student attendance information immediately, like during class or right after class. And then, anytime, if you wonder, oh my gosh, how many classes have I missed in my Monday section of my English class? Oh my God. Well, you just go and you look. You just click, and there it is. All right, so that's a start. That is one major hook. Now, for those teachers who genuinely like that student-teacher moment of drama, it's like, I'm going to tell you, yes.
So I see I have missed 5 classes. Which benefit do I have from this?
You don't have to ask the teacher.
Anyway, I don't ask the teacher how much classes I missed.
Because you remember how many classes you missed. You don't need to ask. As a teacher here in Japan,
I should ask anyway.
Because if you miss too many classes, you won't be entitled to take the final exam, which means you'll have to take the same class next year, or not graduate on time, delaying the start with your professional career. Does that make sense?
But no, it's like after 2 classes you're already not allowed to take any more the exam, so I can count to 3.
Believe me, there are some students who lose track even with that. In a private university, you know, you can set your own rules, and we have the Monday section and the Thursday section, and you can, you know, miss up to 3 classes for, you know, personal illness, club activity. The bus was late, but I forgot to get a memo from the driver. You know, no questions asked. Yeah, you can skip three classes. Oversleep, fine. But if you miss, you know, 4 or 5, well, you got to do a little bit of explaining and maybe get some extra homework. So anyway, from the teacher's point of view, we get something that looks like this. Haven't entered the data yet. But you know, take attendance in class, either read the names and click P for present, L for late, excuse, this person had to go to a wedding in her hometown, and these people were so sleepy that they missed out on class. Then you click OK, and all that data is entered in there. But this is a real class, I'm not going to enter the data. So, now then, next, you did ask a question about, well, at this university, these are the rules. Well, at our university, we have rules too, so we upload the class rules for English 1 and 2 for the students to click and see anytime. And sorry to say, but experience told us, if you upload a text, even the text can change. This is a JPEG. You can't change it. You can't manipulate it. It's a JPEG, guys. You know. Well, on my paper it said this. No. This is the JPEG. It doesn't change.